Today's guest is someone redefining what modern medicine looks like, both in her clinic and on social media. She's a board-certified doctor of acupuncture, the force behind Gatherise Wellness in South Florida, and a practitioner dedicated to helping people go from burnout to balance. And she's using the digital world to make holistic care more accessible than ever. Dr. Jessika Negrin blends clinical expertise with compassionate communication, using acupuncture, integrative medicine, and nervous system-based care to help patients rebuild balance from the inside out. But what truly sets her apart is the way she brings education and empowerment online. Through Instagram, workshops, and digestible wellness content, she's breaking down misconceptions about acupuncture, nervous system healing, and burnout recovery, making medical insight easy to understand and available to people beyond her local community. By merging modern accessibility with ancient practices, Jessika is building a bridge between holistic medicine and the digital era. So thank you for being here today.
That was amazing. I got lost in this.
It's a mouthful, right?
Yeah, but thank you so much, Cassie, for having me on. I'm really excited to get into this topic. I feel like,
Likewise.
yeah, it's meant to be that we ran into each other at some point in life.
Yes, I agree. So let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to have you tell everybody your story and how you got into acupuncture and integrative medicine.
Yeah, so pretty much it started a long time ago. But when I was deciding, I was pre-med in my bachelor's, and I was kind of deciding what should I do next in the sense of med school and things like that. And by chance, I had gotten into a car accident at the time. I was stopped on the highway and someone rear-ended me going normal speed on turnpike.
Oh my gosh.
And so that kind of, reframed a lot of things for me. I was also, I'm a recovering workaholic. So I had a lot of major health issues at the time. Like I needed to remove my gallbladder at around the same time. I had a retina tear, which is, inside of your eye, and usually only happens to like older folks.
Yeah.
But I was like the only 20-something-year-old in the office to do that. And I also had an ovarian cyst. So I had a lot of like health complications, and the car accident was kind of like, it put me at a halt. But I think it, when you're just doing all of these things and life is just like, hey, how about you take a chill pill and let's reassess some things. I think that was the catalyst for me. And so by chance, I had recently met an acupuncturist, and she had a practice where she was able to take my insurance and she was able to treat my, car accident situation. She had an amazing team of chiropractors and massage therapists, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. Of course, it took like a little bit to treat the other ailments, but it was possible with Chinese medicine. I took some herbs and I was able to keep my gallbladder, and my ovarian cyst actually disappeared. Yeah, it was a pretty big eye-opening experience, and I think it needed to happen in that moment for me to decide which route and path to take. So I'm very thankful for that experience, even though it was a grueling experience.
Yes.
But so first I was a patient, and then that's how a lot of us start out, is like something happens major, life health related things, and then we go on a different path. And
it's true. And I think a lot of people, especially when you're in college, you're forced to figure out like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And that's really just not a reasonable question to answer, because life is going to steer you and push you in different ways. And there's really not a lot of people I know who they were like, I did this in undergrad and I did this later, and it was what I always wanted to do. A lot of times their life shapes what they end up becoming or doing, or like, yes, you're in the same field, but it really shaped which path you were going. So it's for sure, it's almost like it's meant to be in a sense, even though you don't want to have to go through those things. You don't have to have a car accident. It kind of was meant to be in the end of where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to open Gatherise Wellness in South Florida, and tell everyone about it?
Yeah. So I pretty much finished my doctorate in May of this year, so a few months ago, and I defended my thesis. I got a lot of offers from a lot of clinics nearby, but a lot of them were just missing the aspect of what I really wanted to work on myself, because I went to school for over 11 years.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was also feeling it, like the burnout. I mean, I had taken 4 national medical boards and in the span of 3 years.
Oh my gosh.
And when I graduated and I finished all my boards and I was licensed, I was still burnt out from like all of the years of constant schooling and internship and, you know, working at the same time. So I did a few internships during my doctorate, and those clinics obviously offered me positions, but at the core of it, I was like, I still need to heal from like so many of my own ailments from the burnout. And it's interesting how like it, you know, I started before med school, I had health concerns. I kind of like managed some of those, and then through the stress of like schooling, which is so crazy to think about how many physicians like go through such intensive coursework, and it's not like you can leave and come back.
Right.
It's kind of like in a timeline. So when I finished, I was so burnt out. Yeah. And I just, it kind of like by chance happened where I was like, okay, they're all offering me to work like 40 plus hours, and that's the only way that they're going to have me in a clinic.
Right.
And that's just not feasible for me. So by default, I was like, okay, if I want to, you know, create my own schedule, but also like if I don't have myself first and I'm taken care of and I'm taking care of other people, how is that going to work out? It's just, you know, like I can't be that support for someone else when I'm not physically okay.
Yes.
So so I started Gatherise Wellness on my own, and it's been beautiful. I also wanted to create a space where I offered community acupuncture, which a lot of places don't offer. Yeah. So I offer $40 per patient for community acupuncture for those who can't afford services typically. So I think that was a huge inspiration for me to actually start it. Right. Because I think that's, you know, I grew up poor. Like we couldn't afford to go to the physician. So there's so many
accessibility matters. Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of accessibility concerns in South Florida specifically. There's so many immigrants as well. I'm an immigrant myself. So I think that was actually the push that got me to start it more than anything, because you can treat and make money anywhere, but giving back is like, it's something so personal. And
it's so true.
Yeah. That's, I think, what, you know, when you have to do the right thing and you're just like, I can't, I can't help it.
Yes. When you're called to it, you just have to sometimes listen and follow that path. Yeah. So everyone listening is probably like, okay, well, this is a social media podcast and they're talking about medicine. Where is this leading to? Yeah. So I kind of hinted to it in the beginning of my intro. So at what point did you realize that social media could become a real extension of your care?
So when I started Gatherise Wellness, and even before that, I had a lot of, because in Chinese medicine, there's a lot of lifestyle modifications that need to happen as well. And sometimes you don't have, you know, when you're treating the patient one-on-one, there's only so much that you can do with them in the session, because it's usually an hour or so. Right. So I needed to figure out a way to extend my care outside of that. And I started posting videos online to kind of like show some lifestyle things that I'm not able to cover during a session, and also speak on, you know, like what I do certain times, like I eat or whatever the case, to inspire people, because a lot of people just don't even know what it looks like. So even to just show it physically in a video or like something that they can reference whenever, I think that's a big opportunity for educating. And also people can't come, like there's people who have watched my videos that aren't even in, you know, South Florida area.
Right. So they might never become patients, but they're still learning and they're still part of your community. They're still an extension of the kind of care that you're giving.
Yeah, for sure. So that was, I think, that was the reasoning.
Yes, which kind of leads me to my next question, which is, how do you translate something as hands-on as acupuncture and seeing people in person into some sort of digital education series that still feels meaningful? It still feels, you know, like you're making a difference, but it's online.
Yeah. And it's interesting because before I started posting online, I curated everything about it because I wanted it to be so intentional. And I think that that's something that I do inspire. I want to inspire others to be, is like very intentional with everything that you do. So before I, you know, decided to post online, I separated two different accounts. So one for the clinic in the sense of, services or information that relates to treatments in South Florida. And the other one, which is more of a personal page as a doctor and physician. And that one looks completely different.
Yes.
In the sense of...
And as it should. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a lot more catered to whatever pops into my mind
Yes.
that day. So it's like, okay, let's do kind of like a relatable video or something that I'm going through in that moment. Obviously not something hyper specific, but
Yes.
something that most people can relate to, because a lot of people just think that, oh, I'm a doctor, I must be like perfect at all times.
Exactly.
And social media, I kind of, that tends to be a theme. So I kind of want to counter that. So
Yes.
I post whenever...
Authenticity.
Yeah, like...
Major.
I just pull out the camera, talk about something in specific that's coming up in that moment, or even, okay, I'm making dinner and I just pop the phone on and I'm like, okay, these are the things. And like,
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen...
Of course I have. Well, it's something that it's important to bring up is that I tell a lot of clients who are maybe more old school in the sense of they know they need social media and they'll do it for their brand or their business.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily interested in their personal brand.
Yeah.
And I kind of try to tell everyone, no matter whether you're posting or not, there's a personal brand out there. Everybody has a personal brand. Everyone's going to think something about you. So you might as well help shape the narrative. You might as well help put stuff out there that's going to help your brand. Because if you're not posting, that's also a big sign. So what you're doing is very authentic and relatable. And it makes you more of an accessible doctor. It's not like, oh, I'm afraid to ask Dr. Jessica, for help, or I'm nervous to talk to her about XYZ, because you make it seem like you're so personal, and you are when you meet you. But if you don't know, people are like afraid of medicine or afraid of doctors. And it's almost for any sort of industry. People want to work with people. So even if, a lot of my clients and brands have their, fancier business page, even just doing, professional and personal development on LinkedIn and Instagram, or even if it's just showing that, in their free time, they like to run marathons and rescue pets. People love to see that. People want to see the real you. It matters.
No, for sure. I would agree like 1,000%. And even, being on the spectrum, like I was diagnosed recently, like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that really opened up a door that I had never really gone through. And I think bringing that into my profession, if I'm able to be authentic and inspire someone else to be authentic, because it's very scary to be on the spectrum. And I was always judged my entire life in the sense of like what I'm saying and my depth. But I've been able to kind of take that and run with it in a way where I know a lot of people can't go into the depth like I can. And, like
it's a superpower.
Exactly.
When you know how to harness your superpower.
Exactly.
And I think everybody, whether, they are on the spectrum, they're not, I think everyone has something in their personality that is their superpower or is something. And sometimes a diagnosis or knowing it can help understand the why and the process.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely ran with it in the sense of, oh, okay, I better understand myself. And I think that's like, it can extend to any diagnosis.
Yes.
But once you understand, it's like, okay, now I'm able to be, a little bit more proactive in how I approach certain situations. But I think like, keeping that authenticity online is actually what has kind of attracted my type of people in the sense of like, okay, we're here to talk about like real life things, and we're not, I'm not coming from like a judgmental place ever.
Exactly.
And to have that that platform, but also like the dialogue that you have in person to match that, I think, it builds a really good relationship of trust. So
it really does.
Yeah.
And speaking of trust, we see a lot of it happen on social media right now, where you have a lot of people who are not doctors who are giving false medical advice or giving their own opinions. And I've had a doctor on this podcast, or I had an owner of a PT clinic on this podcast a couple episodes ago. And I even had a beauty editor and writer on this podcast. And that's something they both brought up too, is a lot of people are out there giving false advice and false opinions. And it might work for them. It might be great for them, but you're not the person that you should be giving all medical advice to. And I think viewers, when they're watching, they need to be careful of that. So that leads me to ask you, what are the biggest myths that you see online about acupuncture, or people ask you about holistic medicine that you have to usually debunk?
Yeah. I think there's two major ones that I actually see a lot. One of them is that a lot of people don't think that acupuncture, or like if you're a doctor of acupuncture or Chinese medicine, that it's all woo-woo. For my doctorate, we all had to do like a thesis based off of evidence. I mean, I classified cacao as a Chinese medicine herb, but there's so much organic chemistry that I put into my research paper that most people would never think, okay, like what does that have to do with it? But we had to take a board examination that was entirely on Western medicine, and even red flags in the sense of, you know, if someone needs to go to the emergency room or whatever the case, we have to know that as primary care physicians in the state of Florida. So a lot of people have that misconception that it's not, you know, Western.
That you're not actually a doctor. Right.
But no, we definitely had to do extensive research, clinical hours, like all of that. And the other one is that a lot of people confuse dry needling and acupuncture. So dry needling is like a very specific subsection within the giant scope of acupuncture. Within our licensing, we can actually, you know, with dry needling, usually it's just for pain management related things, but
and in the muscle, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So within acupuncture, we're treating like internal imbalances, including like digestion, insomnia, obviously pain management. So it's entirely an internal medicine, and a lot of people think, like, you know, the majority of people that are doing dry needling, they do a certification over like a weekend or 2 weekends.
Right.
And I went to school for over 7 years just specifically on acupuncture. And so it goes
not the same.
It goes into such a deep understanding of, you know, energetic channels and physiology. So yeah, it's an entirely different, you know, medicine in itself, and our care can actually extend so much into, you know, lifestyle suggestions, nutrition suggestions. We can obviously do like acupuncture cupping, you know, formulations, herbal formulations in clinic, but it can extend outside of that, like giving qigong classes, for example. That's within our scope. So,
and a lot of people don't realize the body, you know, like we were talking about it as we were setting up for the podcast, you know, a symptom doesn't necessarily mean that's treating the cause. And a lot of the body is very connected. So if you're treating one thing or only hitting one thing, it might not be enough. You have to look at the whole lifestyle, like you're saying, or maybe it's the nutrition, or it's the bigger picture. So I think that's really important in holistic medicine. And as we were talking about too in setting up, I think you said a lot of people turn to holistic medicine when they feel like they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, it's a last resort, and that's actually the majority of the patients. And
it's sad to hear that they, you know, kind of, they have nowhere else to turn to, but it's also nice to know that they're not, you know, like shit out of luck.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting how I have been able to help people who like don't have any other options. Like they've reached the end of their medical care in other ways. Like they've done the surgeries, they've done the medications, and
autoimmune and chronic illnesses. That's what I think of.
Yeah. So Chinese medicine is amazing. And don't get me wrong, both medicines have a place. Like,
of course,
if you have an emergency medicine, do not come to me. Go to the hospital. So, you know, Western medicine is amazing in treating like urgent related things. But a lot of what I end up treating are chronic issues. So yeah, and it's interesting how a lot of people are also needle phobic, and they're like, oh, I can't do acupuncture. And I'm like, 90% of my patients are needle phobic. The needles are actually very, very thin.
They are. It's not like a needle when you're getting like your blood drawn. You know, those are huge.
So I would say that's the majority of the patients that I see are that case.
I believe that. So what kind of content tends to resonate most with your audience online?
It's usually when I'm going through something personal, because again, that authenticity, and I think you can just tell when someone's really like tapped into your heart. So I really try to come from that. You know, during 2020, I experienced grief for the first time, and I lost 8 people in the middle of, you know, like I'm sure
you brought that up at one of our GP events, and that's insanity, and I'm so sorry for that.
Thank you. But I think, you know, that was in the middle of med school. So it really pushed
and a global pandemic. So already the world was so dark.
Yeah. And I know so many people that went through such like catalysts that year. But the level of healing that you do when you're grieving and you have grieved so much. It's just it's something that stays with you forever. But that has been actually like whenever I talk about that online, that's actually when I've gotten the most response because it's such a human emotion.
Yes.
And it cuts deep and like I get goosebumps just even thinking about it. Like there's so many people who feel so alone, are so touch deprived, and being able to just connect with someone at a human level. I think there's a lot of like surface level things, especially in social media. Like social media is it can be such a surface level thing.
Yes.
At times, I'm not saying, but a lot of people
getting better and better, I think. I feel like we're leaning towards a more authentic world, less filters and more real people.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of, there's this viral account, and I will link it in the show notes so people can see, and I will send it to you.
Yes.
Where this older lady, she's a widow. She lost her husband recently. And their thing together was they would do like bedtime snack time. And they would always get like some sort of like sweet treat or whatever kind of treat, could be even savory, at night. And that would be their thing. And they would talk about their day. So no matter what their life was. So she decided that she missed that part of her routine. Because no matter what they did that day, they always had bedtime snack time. So she decided to take literally her phone. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. She takes her iPhone, sets it up, and she's like, hey, y'all, it's bedtime snack time. And sometimes like her weakness is like McDonald's. So she's like, I got McDonald's fries. And she's a little Southern accent. And she just tells her story, talks through her day. And people have said that they look forward to her videos every day. There's a lot of people who are also going
I need to follow her.
You do. Who are going through the same thing. Or they lost their husband, they lost their wife, they lost their mother. Or even people who haven't lost anyone, but they just find comfort in her videos. There are even people who say, I live alone and I look forward to having a snack with you every night. Like, it's so sweet. I will send it to you. But she's gone viral, and I think she's going to get brand deals for sure. She already probably has. Not because she was trying to, because she just was trying to find a place to relate and connect. So I totally get beautiful. That's where, people are resonating with your content.
Yeah. And I think as AI, it increases over time, I think that's what's really going to stand out is the authenticity, what people would consider in the imperfections. But to me, I'm like, that's what makes you beautiful, and that's what makes like
interesting about life.
Exactly. So I think that's not going to be recreatable, and I am so looking forward to seeing more of that.
I agree.
And I kind of have to be the first one in the sense of like, okay, if I want people to be vulnerable, I have to be vulnerable first.
It's so true. It's even like when I was starting this podcast, I was, like, oh, I have to be on camera. Oh, I have to hear myself speak every week. It's like, just get over it, because now I'm teaching people about social media and I'm getting to interview amazing people like you. Like, it's like, it unlocks a whole door.
Yeah,
but if you get stuck behind that door, you're never going to know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Which leads me to ask you. So we close out every episode with 2 questions.
Okay.
So you're up. The first one is, what's your current favorite social media platform and why?
I think kind of relating to what we were talking about, TikTok has just been increasingly becoming a lot more vulnerable, and even the algorithm has been, because I've been studying the algorithm, girl.
Oh yeah, and it's constantly changing.
Yeah, but recently I've noticed that with TikTok, it's the videos that you just open, say something relatable, and that's right up my alley. So I've been really enjoying the TikTok videos. I think that's awesome that they are prioritizing that as a social media company, and I know that YouTube has also done a lot more of that as well, but I haven't jumped on YouTube yet.
It doesn't feel as like it's listening as well as TikTok. TikTok's listening a little too well sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll like a video, I'm like, no, I just like that one video. Please don't give me 20 more of that version. That's like what recently went viral was like an AI version of the thong song.
Oh my gosh.
And it's ridiculous. It's like gospel-esque, and like you have to listen to it. It's the funniest thing you've ever heard, because it's actually like amazing. Like, the song slaps. Like, it's stuck in my head. But I don't want to see everyone's reaction and everyone's dances to it. Like, the song was great, let's let it be. But the algorithm is like, no, here's 50 more videos of the AI thong song. And then it's like, now here's an AI song of every rap genre. Like, too far. But the algorithm is really good. And also, I think the search engine on TikTok is really good. So people are looking for doctors, acupuncturists, or holistic medicine. They want to find things. The the search there is great. Like you can pull up exactly what you need to find. I even got ideas for this set of nails on TikTok because it's easy to find there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have actually found me through TikTok, which is also kind of, because a lot of people are using it as like a search engine.
Yes.
So
when I travel, it's the first place I go. Like, what restaurant should I eat here? Yes.
Yeah, when I traveled to North Carolina, I was like, okay, what restaurants do I need to...
Yeah, but ask us 5 years ago and we would not have.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally, I'm trying to jump on the TikTok bandwagon. Yes. But yeah, it's tough sometimes to do like all kinds of different social medias at the same time.
It is.
It's tough.
And I think the part of just like getting stuff out there is what's important. You know, sometimes it's like, you know what, I don't have a lot of time for it to be perfect and for it to be so edited. It doesn't matter. Like it's still getting out there, still resonating with people.
For sure.
So that also leads me to our next question I ask everybody is, what's one social media trend you wish would just go away? And there's always so many, I know.
I just don't personally like... because I do a lot of content on inspirational rather than like, I don't want to be comparing. Like I try to hone that message in to a lot of people, because a lot of people can like get really bogged down on like, oh, I'm not doing this perfectly. And a lot of what I represent is like, give yourself grace.
Yes.
Like even if it's a 1% better every time, like that's better than nothing.
Yes.
And I just think a lot of people are very hard on themselves. So when you see trends of like that are just not the healthiest in the sense of consuming like certain foods or like, extreme calorie deficits or, that just harms so many people.
Yes.
Especially like influencers that, are a certain, stereotypically.
Yes.
Like
it can lead to eating disorders and body dysmorphia. And
yeah. So I think I treat a lot of that by default, and I wish that wouldn't be the case. It should be left to like either registered dietitians or, anyone who has a background in nutrition. I had some background in nutrition, but even then, like I still, recommend registered dietitians because that's their lane,
Yes.
So, I'll give inspiration as to like what I'm eating to kind of like give some idea, because some people do ask me like, oh, like what do you eat? But I still try to like
stay away from the comparison. Yeah. More of a positive lens.
Right. It's like, okay, this is what works for me, but it might not work for you. And that's okay.
Yes.
There's all kinds of different body types.
Yeah.
Like, to cross compare, I think that's where it hurts my heart, because I'm like, I know some people will watch this video and be like, oh yeah, I can just eat a banana and like, have some coffee like the entire day and do fast. And for some, like, especially women, like, it's so detrimental in the sense of your menstrual cycle and stuff like that.
And I think people will almost lean into that trend a little harshly because they know it's going to get views because people are so drawn and interested.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that you're putting out content that's not that way.
Yeah, exactly. So
I have a bonus question for you. What's one practice everyone listening could do today to make them feel a little more balanced in their daily life?
Well, I often get a lot of people who, like, they put a lot on their plate, but also beat themselves up over it. And I think having some time to just kind of enjoy something that maybe you even enjoyed as a kid. Like, I give that homework to a lot of my patients. I'm like, what did you used to do as a kid and what did you enjoy? Right. Like, did you like watching, like sometimes I'll sit and like watch Harry Potter over and over, or like the Powerpuff Girls, or whatever the case. And it's just, it heals like a little.
Reconnect again. With your child.
Yeah. Because we just have all these like, masks and responsibilities.
Yes, get this done. Go here.
Yeah.
Now I'm 5 minutes late for this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of reverting back into that inner child and like, what do they need? Is it coloring and just doing it for fun and without any expectation?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think giving yourself grace and allowing yourself to like enjoy life, because this is a very chaotic society where everything's just work related.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's biggest take a second to see what you need in that moment. What does your inner child need? And usually that helps a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, Dr. Jessika, thank you so much for joining us today. Your ability to take something as complex as integrative medicine and make it accessible, warm, and empowering is such a gift. I know listeners will walk away with a deeper understanding of their own well-being and a reminder that healing can be both clinical and compassionate. I'm going to link all of your accounts in the show notes so everyone can follow you. And
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much, Cassie. I had so much fun.
Great.